Sourdough bread is delicious, but it's as simple to make as it's not as simple to make as other breads out there. A new cookbook called Sourdough on the Rise gives aspiring bakers important tips, and here to show us the basics is author Cynthia Lair. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I've heard about sourdough starter. I don't even really know what it looks like. I have to admit that. So we're going to start from the very beginning. What is a sourdough starter?
Okay, so a sourdough starter is a living organism. It's dynamic. That means it's always changing.
Okay.
It's a combination of flour and water that microorganisms, or good bacteria, but we're going to call them microorganisms because people worry about bacteria.
Okay.
Okay, so the microorganisms, which are inherent on any grain, wake up when they're with water. And then there's wild yeast that lives everywhere, and I'm going to show you how to attract that to your starter. So it's a combination of microorganisms and wild yeast.
And so why is this different from other bread that we would just make from the beginning each time?
There's a lot. So there's number one, I say, is the flavor, because everyone loves that flavor.
Yes.
And part of why they love that flavor is the sour taste actually stimulates enzymes that help you digest the bread.
And that can only happen when this lives and does its thing.
Unless you're some cheater that puts some vinegar in your bread or something.
All right, we definitely
We're not
don't want
going to be cheaters. No.
All right, how do we get going here?
Okay, so
this is your starter.
I have three, but this is Dottie. I brought Dottie. She's the first one. I know that sounds weird that I'm referring to her as a named person.
But does that help you sort of motivate yourself to keep her alive and tended?
You know, at every class I teach, I bring a little roll of masking tape and a Sharpie, because I feel like when people name their starter, they have a better chance of it staying alive because they form some sort of interest in it. Yeah,
all right, I'm willing.
So she's inert right now, meaning I haven't fed her or stirred her in a little bit. And they like both food and activity, just like us, just like you and me. Yeah, okay. So see how there's a little crusty stuff around there? And that crusty stuff builds up. And that's actually super normal. But when the crusty stuff starts to build up, some people go, oh no, it's spoiled.
And they throw it out.
And they throw it out. And it's not at all true.
Okay.
A starter gone bad tells you. First of all, it's a good idea to taste your starters once in a while, and nothing is going to hurt you.
Okay.
Just to see how sour or not sour it is. And if it's putrid,
you'll know. Will you be able to smell it
if it's not? Yes,
so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. But the buildup is normal, and sometimes I will put the starter in a bowl and kind of scrape off the buildup and then put it back in, but I don't have to do that.
Okay, very good. Don't worry about that. What's next?
So this is Margaret's starter.
Okay.
And what's in here is some flour. I have some white flour and some whole wheat flour. The white flour tends to attract the yeast more, and the whole grain flour sometimes tends to have some microorganisms on it.
Alrighty.
And our goal is to make the viscosity of this like pancake starter.
I can do that.
Or like pancake batter.
Okay.
Okay. So ready?
I'm ready.
We're just going to stir. I'm going to let you catch up there.
Yeah, I need a little time to get down to the bottom. Okay, I'm a little thick. I can take a little more.
Yeah, you can. And I mean, in the book it spells out how much and this and that, but it's really about you and you're interacting with it, and you're like, that feels like pancake batter to me.
I feel like I need just one more little splash.
I feel like you do too.
All right, that should do me.
Does that feel good?
Yes, we're there.
Okay, good. Now what we're going to do, you're just about done. Is that crazy?
This is it?
I know.
Oh my gosh, there's nothing else going in here?
Well, there's one other thing.
Okay.
Okay, so take that out. You can give that to me or somebody or something. We'll just set
put
that there.
Over there.
Great.
Right. I've made kind of a mess here.
No, I have a towel right behind you.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
we can mop up. I was enthusiastically stirring.
I like the enthusiasm. So this is like, it's ready. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? And one of the things that I like to do, and I learned this from Sandor Katz's book, Wild Fermentation, is put a little grape in there.
What?
Mm-hmm. So see how the grape has kind of a blush on it?
Yes.
Yeah, and that is wild yeast. So by dropping that in there, you're going to attract the wild yeast in your kitchen into your starter.
That is crazy. Okay, so I just drop it in.
Just drop it in.
Doink.
Now we're going to do one other thing that only you, extra special you, get today, and that is I'm going to give you a little bit of Dottie in there.
Oh my gosh.
And that means,
help me get going.
Mm-hmm. So if you can find a friend with a starter, it's pretty exciting. And if you have Dottie in there, it won't take 14 days to become a starter.
It'll go faster.
Like 4
but
days.
if I don't have Dottie, I'm still going to get there.
Yes.
It's just going to take longer.
Yes, and probably the trickiest thing about...
Thank you.
You're welcome. Probably the trickiest thing about keeping your starter in a state where it will do what it needs to do is keeping it warm. And that's something people forget about. When it's first birthing, it needs, I know,
so much is going on.
It needs to stay warm. It needs to stay about 78 degrees, which is warmer than your house.
Than my house. So where do I put it?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do. You can find a warmer place in your house, like on top of the refrigerator, or you can put it in a, you know, those 6-pack thermal things.
Yes,
You
yes.
could put some hot water and a little towel in there and stick it in there, and it'll keep nice and warm in there. I have a closet in my house that's internal that traps heat, and I used to keep my starters in there
Wow,
sometimes.
okay.
But in the book, there's a whole list of different
Ways
ideas.
to do that.
Yeah, different home DIY ways to do that.
I think this is fascinating. Okay, let's talk about flapjacks and what we're
Okay.
going to do with those, because we only have about a minute left,
Oh,
and I want to make
gosh,
sure people.
so
I know
fun.
there's so much to talk
I know,
about.
there's so
we're putting
much.
cheesecloth on top.
Yeah, and I'm going to tie that on.
Okay.
And
so
you're-
no lid. It's just going to be open to the air.
Yeah,
this
so
way.
that your wild yeast can come
Yes.
in. Yeah.
I just had no idea
And we're
I
going to
even had
name
wild
it.
yeast
Yeah.
hanging
you,
around in the kitchen.
You have
but
it
we
on
do.
your hands. You have it everywhere.
That's crazy.
I
Okay,
know.
I'm going to put her over here.
Okay.
Now, what do we do to make our flapjacks?
Oh, we're not making them this morning, but we're tasting them.
We're going to taste them, and you're sharing the recipe, right?
Yes, yes. So the flapjacks are, the book is organized. It has 12 bread recipes, and it starts out with flapjacks because they're pretty easy. So this bread is a little later in the,
beautiful.
yeah, that's like number
that.
11 out of 12.
It's almost at the very end.
Yeah, so
All right.
there's a nice way of working up to it. It has biscuits and tortillas and injera and pita.
Oh my gosh, it
Naan
sounds
is my
great.
favorite.
I love naan. What have you put on top here?
I have vanilla rum apple butter, so be sure and get some of that
I am
in your
definitely
thing.
going to. And do we make this pretty much like a normal pancake?
Yeah, you
Nothing
do.
really all that.
No, it's nothing
Crazy here.
spectacular. It has yogurt in it, and it has.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
That's fantastic.
It's got a good flavor. A lot of times we let bread be so neutral, but with the sourdough you can make it be much more exciting.
Sourdough on the Rise is
Yeah,
the name of the book.
I
Thank you
know.
so very
Oh,
much.
yeah.
Please head over to New Day's website for Cynthia's yogurt sourdough flapjacks recipe. This is so good. And when we come back, a Medicare expert is going to explain open enrollment. Back after this.